Welcome to Let Them See You, the podcast that honors educators, the everyday heroes shaping futures with courage and heart. I'm your host, Sarah Hightower. This is your space to recharge, find joy, and embrace your power. We're here, episode 6, first day down, now what? You're probably exhausted at this point because school has begun. And we know what happens when school starts. Everybody is tired. We're going to talk about the range of emotions that you feel as the school year begins and how we can navigate through those by focusing on one thing in particular. So first, with our quick chat today, I want you to notice your growth. Not only should you notice your growth, but you should name it and continue to develop it. So let me start with myself. I was able to meet someone new today. It had a lot to do with my career. And when I met them, there was a certain positioning that this person had that in earlier times of my life would have made me completely uncomfortable. The way they were sitting even made it seem as though they were not on the same level as me, which technically they aren't. But in the past, that would have rattled me. It would have made me feel as though I was less than. I know that this person didn't mean to do that, but in the past, I probably would have taken it that way. Now, I don't, and I didn't. I didn't feel that way, and I felt comfortable. I felt confident in this conversation, and I felt like I was in the right place at the right time, where I was supposed to be having the conversation I was supposed to be having. So I have grown in my confidence and not taking everything so personally. It is something that I'm very proud of, and I'm glad that I have continued to develop in that area, understanding that everything's not personal. Maybe that person just liked their chair. Maybe that person just wanted to be comfortable themselves. Who knows what they had been doing the whole day? And perhaps they wanted to finally feel some sense of relief from their feet in that particular spot. So let them do it. I also have grown in my ability to notice what's right for me and what's wrong for me. This has been such a growing time the last month or so because I am more quickly able to discern this is for me and this is not for me. Or this person is for me or this person is not for me. This situation is or is not for me. One thing is clear though, this podcast is definitely for me. Love this. I'm going to continue doing this because it is growing me. It is growing me in ways that I didn't realize that it would. I have parents that have reached out to me and said, thank you. I will be sharing this with other parents and other educators that I know because I'm learning. And that's the goal. If I'm able to share some information that someone didn't have before, it makes me very happy to know that they now have it and will share it with someone else. That to me is the goal of communication. And I think we should pass it on. Pass it on. I want you to take a moment and think about, reflect on how you've grown, because everyone should take a moment and think about that. Over the past at least year, something is different about you than it was previously. You've grown in some way. Some people might say, yeah, well, I've gained a few pounds. I definitely grew in that area. Okay. But think about something that makes you happy. You might like the way you feel and look with a few extra pounds on you. Okay, cool. Maybe it's not about the actual weight. Maybe you've actually gained muscle and you've lost some fat. Look into that because perhaps that's what happened. So think about where you have grown and maybe where you might want to continue to develop yourself. I am probably never going to be at a place where I feel the most confident that I ever can feel. I feel like you venture into arrogance at that point. So I'm always going to have to work on being strong and steadfast in my confidence. I think other people might not have that problem. You might need to work on something else. Figure out what it is, name it, develop it. It's really important to do that. So that's it for the quick chat. Moving into our first day. I know that most people, especially teachers, after the first day, the number one word that comes to mind is exhaustion. You're tired. It has been a long day. No matter what age group that you work with and support, the first day is long. Why? Because you are getting into the routine of how you start, go through, and end your day. And that takes work. And it's the kind of work that requires repetition. So you might even be exhausted from having to repeat yourself or having to walk from one place to another and back several times. We're at a time of year where kids need that. They don't know your expectations until you tell them and you show them. So the more that you go over it, the better. It is not too much. It's not too much. The more that you lay that foundation of this is how we do things and this is what's acceptable, the better. It will save you so much time later on. For example, you might have had to have students line back up and walk out of the room and walk back into the room so that they learn how to do that. You then might have had them put their things away in a certain manner because they're going to need to be able to do that without you telling them day after day. After that, you might have practiced coming to the carpet or coming to the floor if you're in elementary, right? If you're in middle school, they might have practiced how to come in, get their things that they need, and get going, get to work. Then, if you're in high schools too, you might have reminded them, hey, put your phone up, or hey, remember that when we're in here, this is the focus. We have this amount of time. I expect you to come in and be able to do X, Y, and Z on your own so that we don't waste any time. Time is of the essence. So the more that you put into practice what the expectations are for everything that happens throughout the day, the better. Exhaustion might be one thing that you feel. Another thing that you might feel is joy. You might have woke up this morning and thought, I get to go teach again, or I get to go lead again, or I get to get my baby up and get them ready for school again. Thank the Lord, right? If you feel that joy, that's a great thing. You should. Education is something that we should be happy about. We can do it in this country, and there are other places where they may not have that opportunity. So if you're feeling joy because your child or your students and your teachers got to educate and be educated, wonderful, as you should. I know I feel joy when school starts for many different reasons, but one being, hey, my kids are going back to school. They're getting that structured practice for how to be a citizen, right? How to be a good human. They get more practice at it at school. That brings me joy. I enjoy watching other kids learn how to do those things, and they grow quickly. Even on the second day, you're going to notice that there are some changes for the better. So exhaustion, joy, you might feel another emotion, which is regret. Some people might be feeling regret, like, oh man, now I'm in third grade. I wish I was back in fifth grade. I wish I was teaching, the older kids, because these kids don't know how to do this or these kids don't know how to do that. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that. Or you might have switched campuses or switched districts and you might be feeling a little bit of regret. It's normal to have those feelings, especially on the first day. You don't really know what to expect until it happens. There is no first day like others. The first day of school is a brand new day every single year. No matter if you're in the same grade level, at the same campus with the same people, your kids are different. So it's going to be a brand new first day every single year. But there are times when you might feel regret because there was a student that you just adored, and now that student has gone on to another grade level to be great, and you had a huge hand in preparing them for that, but they're gone now. Now you got to develop another student and other students to be helpers and supporters and learners so that you can grow them. So there's some feelings of regret, and that's okay. So exhaustion, joy, regret. Some people might be feeling a little bit of sadness, and the sadness could be because maybe something happened on the way to work or the day before, or you just are not sure if you're in the right place. All of those things could happen. And again, that's okay. As human beings, we have emotions, and we are complicated beings, so those emotions can be mixed. You can have several emotions within a short period of time. So within the first day of school, you could have felt all those things. You could have felt excitement. Maybe you were really excited when you went to the cafeteria and the kids were told that they had to be on a level 0 so that they could finish eating their food, and everybody did it on the first try. That is exciting. It is. Or after the last kid gets on that bus or gets picked up and everybody got home safely. Excitement. That is very exciting. No one's going to end up on the news. If you work in anybody's school, the goal on day 1, don't end up on the news. We are not on the news, okay? Not for that reason. We want the news to be reporting about how wonderful the campus is, how safe and how rewarding it is to learn here. Not because we left a kid somewhere that they weren't supposed to be left, or that someone escaped that shouldn't have, right? We want to feel that kind of excitement. So again, mixed emotions, super normal, acknowledge them, but then pinpoint what it is that you want to fix and work on and not have continue. Maybe that sadness that you felt, acknowledge it, and then really determine, how do you flip that? How do you turn that sadness into joy? What was it that made you feel sadness? And what can you do to feel better tomorrow? We got to feel better tomorrow. Because when you think about it, kids can sense how you're feeling. You can fake it. You can try to fake it. And sometimes that works. A lot of times it doesn't. They know. they can feel it, and they will give it back. So if you're in the right classroom with the wrong one, with the wrong student, you can be feeling a certain type of way, frustration, for example. Your students can pick up on that frustration and spit it right back at you. So if you come at them with frustration, they might come right back at you with frustration. That's not what we want. We want our students to feel the joy and the expectation that we have for the school year. And that's what we want them to carry with them throughout the day. We don't want to make their day any heavier than it already is. And you might be saying, oh, well, what about my day? My day is heavy. I got a lot going on. You do. And the easiest way to get through that day is to focus on how you can control your feelings and how you can get through your day in the best way possible. That way, your kids feel that. We have to be sure that that's what's happening. So, mixed emotions, lots of things going on. Let me share my first day. Let me try to think back to 2009, my first day on a campus. I was not a classroom teacher my first day on a campus. I was an interventionist when I first began in education. I was working with students that were pulled out of class after the instruction occurred to work with them on specific reading skills. That was my job. Later, as the next school year began, my first day as a classroom teacher occurred. That day was when it got really real. That was actually my first real day as an educator, right? The teacher of record. I was so excited. I had these fifth graders coming in the room, and I knew that they were going to be ready to be the top dogs of the school. And I let them know, yeah, you're the top dog, yeah, but make sure you listen, right? You got to do that. I can honestly say, I think I did a good job of greeting the students, being kind, showing them who I was. I did tell them about myself and my family and why I enjoyed teaching them. I think I did a good job of that for sure. When I reflect, though, I don't think I did the greatest job my first year teaching on the expectations and procedures. Why do I think I didn't do the greatest job? Well, the classroom culture was fine. It was fine. The students got along for the most part. We got through the day. But it could have been better because I don't remember having a set way to come in, to sit down, to get to work, to speak to one another, to speak to me, to ask to go to the bathroom, to get out your notebook. As time went on, I had that, but on the first day, I didn't work on it the way that I should have. I distinctly remember dismissal. I remember practicing dismissal on the first day. I remember the kids quickly knowing where to go for dismissal during practice. That was great. But again, I don't recall in my own classroom working on how we get from point A to point B, how we speak to one another, how we maneuver, and what happens if this goes down and what happens if it doesn't. We didn't get into that. And I feel like on the first day, we should have. Because as the year went on, there were some things that happened that I think I could have prevented had I spent some time really talking about expectations and procedures. I didn't. As the first day, though, I survived, obviously. I'm still here. And that is one of the things that sticks out to me is I survived. Everybody got home safely. Win, right? Nobody was on the news. Other first days were different, but as I got some years of teaching under my belt, the first days became better. Also, as I got some years under my belt, I was at a different campus, and a campus shift or a district shift sometimes changes the way that you view urgency when it comes to expectations, right? Shifting the campus that I was at, it changed the way that I viewed expectations. And I also had more time under my belt at this point. So at about year 3 or 4, I had a way better first days, right? Because I knew day 1, you talk to them about expectations. If you want to speak, you raise your hand like this. And then I ask a question and students start calling out and I say, nope, if you want to speak, you raise your hand like this. Let's try again. And we tried it again. So I asked the question and they raised their hand. And I said, excellent job. Look at the hands raised. It took practice though. That's not something that happened my first year. But as time went on, I got better at it. The kids got better at it. But the kids don't get better at something that you don't allow them to get better at. You have to give them the opportunity to practice. And that goes not just for academics, that goes for rules and procedures. It is still something that takes practice. It does not happen overnight. If kids enter your room pushing, shoving, yelling, throwing things, make them leave. They need to step back outside the classroom and they need to come in again correctly, the way that you would have already explained, right? Because if it's already been explained, it's already been practiced, then the expectation has been set and there shouldn't be any confusion on how it's done. And if you do it enough, you're creating other little teachers in the room that will correct for you. And that means those students will step in and say, hey, that's not how we do it here. No, you're supposed to, you come in quietly and you put your stuff down and then you walk to your seat and they will spell it out for you so you don't become exhausted at the end of the day. Your little support system will kick in quickly, oftentimes on day one, because you've already gone over it, right? So my first day was probably very similar to many of your first days. It was mixed emotions. It was wondering, I could have did this. I should have did that. And I didn't. It was, what can I do better for tomorrow? Right? I really did end the day on that. What could I do better tomorrow? Note. Because there's always something to do better tomorrow, which leads us to the tip of the week. For this tip of the week, I want you to shift from survival to being intentional. I'm going to say it again. Shift from survival to being intentional. When you are surviving, you are working at a day-to-day, hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute pace. That's not what you want to do. You will burn out very, very quickly doing that. When you are intentional, you have a plan in place already for all the things. So let's talk about how you can be intentional and not just survive. We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive, right? We want happiness and joy in our survival. So that's where intention comes in. So one thing I want you to do to work on being intentional, speaking directly to the teachers. The first thing you need to make sure you have out of the way is your instruction. That should have already been planned, right? You have teacher planning days. You have time to sit with your team. You have time to look at what's coming up instructionally. So that part should not be on your mind as far as a stressor for what's to come the next day. You already know. It's already planned for. It's done. Don't worry so much about that. But something that you need to keep in mind that we forget or just don't pay attention to, sleep. Teachers, go to sleep. You need rest. Go to sleep. I know you just came off of summer. I know it has been rough trying to get out of that stay up late, wake up when I want to mode, even stay up late, wake up early because I have PD mode. You can't do that when the school year starts. You've got to go to sleep and get some rest. Even if that means you get your journal and you write all the things that are in your brain and keeping you from going to sleep onto the paper, so that you get them out of there and you can breathe a little bit, work on those breaths and fall asleep. You have got to get some rest to be ready for the next day. It's a lot. After sleep, water. I will be the first one to tell you that teachers need a restroom in their classroom. All of them. We need restrooms in the classroom. Why? Because it is difficult to get to the bathroom during the day because it goes so quickly. You have got to go to the bathroom during transitions and stuff. It's a lot, but you've got to drink your water. Your health is important. If you have some type of container that you can bring it, fill it up, put some water in it, drink it. If you notice by the end of the day that it is still full, you have not drank enough water and you are dehydrated. Welcome to dehydration. That is bad. It has consequences. We don't want that. Drink your water. Now, if you drink some water and you're like, oh no, I've got to go to the bathroom. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Start now, right? Because it's going to be uncomfortable at first. But as your body gets accustomed to the amount of water you're drinking, it won't be so bad, right? You'll get used to it and you'll learn when you need to go to the bathroom. Drink your water, drink your water. Before school starts, go to the bathroom. Drink your water during the day. Okay, now it's time for out class. Drink your water. Drink your water, right? Go throughout the day. Oh, now it's time for lunch. Drink your water. You need to drink your water. I can't stress that enough. Do it. You're talking to someone who's been dehydrated before, who's gotten dizzy at work, and when the doctor asked me why was I dizzy and getting vertigo at work and asked me how much water I was drinking, I couldn't even tell them it was one bottle of water, 116.9 of water. I couldn't. I was like, I don't remember the last time I had water today. That's a problem. You've got to drink your water. Okay. Next thing, lunch. Pack your lunch the night before. I'm really bad about this. Really bad. Meal prepping is a goal of mine this year. I've got to learn how to meal prep better. Have I done it before? Yes, but not consistently. So I'm working on that. I would encourage you to do the same. Prep your meals so that they're already ready. You grab and you go. Do that. A sweater. My cold nature friends, get your sweater because you're going to want to be comfortable. And a lot of the times, y'all are the ones that it's cold every 2 seconds. Get your sweater. Have it with you. Leave it. Leave a sweater in the classroom. Leave it so that you don't walk around complaining that it's cold all the time. Because us hot-natured people are looking at you sideways every time you do it. Because we hot, usually. Okay? Bring your sweater. Prepare for that. Also, just to be sure that you are intentional, plan what you are going to work with students on as far as procedures. Day 1 is done. Can't do anything about it now. What can you identify that you want to make sure you review tomorrow, or you have a new procedure because of how today went? Fine. Make sure you plan it out real quick and it's ready to go for tomorrow and the rest of the days, because those procedures have to be in place. Those expectations have to be in place. Those are the things you need to be intentional about. Teachers, I'm going to say it again. You need to have sleep. You need some water in your life. You need to pack your lunch the night before. You need a sweater for my cold-natured friends. And you need rules and procedures on lock so that you can practice them the next day. If you're not sure if you need them, if somebody had to correct your kids, you need to work on them, right? Because that means they were unclear, right? We need the expectations to be clear. All right, parents, your turn. Talking to you. Be intentional with your child's sleep. They need to go to sleep at a certain time so that they can be ready to get up and get ready for school. I can tell you as a parent, it's not easy because the kids are squirrely. They're excited. They don't want to go to sleep. What about this, that, and the other? They're going to try to tell you every excuse in the world for why they shouldn't go to sleep right now and why they're so thirsty and hungry again all of a sudden. Don't let it happen. They've got to go to sleep. Also, lunch. If they take their lunch to school, have them pack it. Have them help you pack it the day before. So they're excited. They're ready to go. They'll even remember to grab it, right? Get some of those procedures in place for them so that the school mornings aren't hectic. Do as much as you can the night before. Again, parent here, I already know. I know that life. I'm with you. Do it the night before. Makes life so much easier. Snacks, have them do it the night before. Let them do it themselves. Make your snacks, put it together. If it doesn't have to be refrigerated, go put it in your backpack now. Go. Get it ready. Be intentional. Their outfits, what are they going to wear? Today is wear a red shirt day, or today is polka dot day, or today is whatever they're supposed to have on, get it together before the morning comes so that you save yourself the headache. Have all that laid out. Speaking parent to parent, listen, there are times where I'm like, what they got to wear now? Oh my gosh. So we got polka dots, we got stripes, we got crazy socks, we got a hat, we got sunglasses, we got Astros, go ahead and get all that stuff together now, because you already know that they're going to have to wear it at some point during the school year, right? If it's something that you know they have to wear throughout the week, you already know what they have to wear, get it ready on the weekend. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Here go your clothes. Done. That way, you've intentionally planned for it and saved yourself the stress. Because who takes on the stress when you're feeling stressed in the morning? The children. And then they bring it to school. We don't want that. And the last thing, communications, parents. If there is something that you need to communicate to the teacher, go ahead and get it ready. Maybe you need the teacher to know that Johnny broke his glasses, so he's going to be struggling to see. And so maybe he didn't have glasses yesterday on the first day because they were broken. And so if he was squinting and struggling in the back of the room and kind of off task, he couldn't see. Share that communication with the teacher so that they know. They don't know everything and they don't pick up on everything. You've got to communicate. And so that should be the same expectation from the teacher. If there's something that you don't know that you would like to know, ask. If you have a question, send a quick email and say, hey, quick question. Ask your question, right? Communication is key. So parents, I'm going to repeat it for you again. Be intentional about your child's sleep schedule. Be intentional about their lunch. Make sure they've got what they need to eat and what they enjoy. Be intentional about their outfits, what they're wearing to school, and what's appropriate to wear to school. And then be intentional about the communications with the teachers, right? Keeping in mind what we talked about last week and the week before and the week before, that we're respectful, because it's all about the what? Approach. It's all in how you approach it. All right. And guess what, y'all? We didn't come to the end of this whole episode. Look at us rolling through. I just want y'all to just reflect for a moment. When you think about your first day of school, what went well? What fell off? What caught you by surprise? Those are the things that you can think about how to be intentional in supporting for day 2. It's okay. This work is real, and so are you. And it's okay to have to reset. So do that when it's necessary. I want you to rediscover your joy, embrace your true self, and let them see you. Thanks for listening to Let Them See You. Until next time, climb with courage, stand in the light, let them see you.